conversation before about me preaching and teaching. Not smart enough to teach and certainly not trained to preach. So what does Pastor do before he leaves? He says, you know, this is really kind of a difficult passage to work with and preach through and teach people. Huh. No pressure there. Why didn't he just say, don't screw it up? That I can handle. When he says it's difficult, now the expectations are high that somebody's going to walk away with some information or a lesson or something. Well, we're going to do a little teaching today. My 9th grade English teacher would be proud of me, Mrs. Anderson, because I actually diagrammed this lesson, this passage. And if you think I'm kidding, I did. So we're going to do a little teaching, and then we're going to get back to what I always like to refer to as my journey. And every time I say my, I want you to think of yours. I don't want to be me, I. I want you to think of your journey the same way, or see if you can draw a parallel with my journey. Okay. That being said, we also need to decide what that journey is. If that journey is just a passage through life, that's one thing. If that journey is to try and make us just a little more Christ-like, then we're going to have a lot better stuff. We'll come back to that, but we're going to start out with diagramming this reading. You can take notes. The test will be after the service. The Pharisees present a threat to Christ. It's a threat because Herod wants to kill him. Well, Jesus knows he's already going to die. And he knows that that death has absolutely nothing to do with Herod. What his death has to do with is the completion of his present ministry. So now what's his present ministry? That ministry is casting out demons and performing cures. Now how does that ministry relate to us? Well, casting out demons is Jesus' constant battle and our constant battle with the devil. And the cures are his way of releasing the captives. People that are captive to their bodies because of pain, of sickness, they're captive because of loneliness. Any illness whatsoever is a form of captivity. So Herod has no control, and Jesus knows it. Matter of fact, Jesus, this has been great on TV the last couple of weeks, but Jesus actually calls Herod a fox. Now the significance here is back in these days, most of the kings and the rulers always wanted to be compared to lions and tigers and animals of power. So Christ calls him a egg-sucking, chicken-stealing fox. And he tells the Pharisees to go and tell him he's a fox. And he says he will do these things today and tomorrow, Jesus, and the next day until he's finished. Does anybody remember the bracelets? I went and tried to find one yesterday after work. Remember the bracelets that we used to use that said WWJD? What would Jesus do? Well, this sermon and a lot of things that are going to go on in the next few weeks, we actually know what Jesus would do. This isn't something we have to wear a bracelet and guess what Jesus would do. Jesus tells us what he's going to do. Today he's going to cast out demons. Tomorrow he's going to cure people. And the next day he's going to be done. Well, let's go to the second part of that verse, or those verses. After he gets done with that, he's worried about Jerusalem. The first part is an indictment when he says, the city that kills prophets and stones those who are sent. After the indictment comes the compassion. He says that he desires to protect and shelter the people of Jerusalem like a mother hen. Third is the punishment. We've gone from indicting the city to wanting to protect the city, and now we tell them that your house left to you desolate. But then there's the recognition. He knows that Jerusalem will recognize him sooner or later. And he says so by saying that with his triumphant entry back on Palm Sunday, that Jerusalem will bless him, because he says, "Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord," and Jerusalem will realize that that's what he's doing. Well, there's your diagramming of that reading. And it doesn't do me any good unless I can draw a parallel with that into my journey. You're going to love this. Like I said, I want my journey to be more Christ-like. I want to end up being more Christ-like. I don't want to just make sure I get to the end of my journey. I want it to mean something. I want it to be done right. And hopefully everyone else does with their journey. So now that I know what Jesus is going to do, and I know Jesus knows he's about to die, I want to know what I should do. I'm interested in knowing what you would do. So I went on Facebook. I don't know what a 65-year-old man is doing on Facebook and why he would bring it up in church, but I went on Facebook. And I asked my friends, what is it all called, on Facebook, I asked, what would you do if you knew you had very little time left? Now, I have a lot of friends on Facebook, and a lot of children, and none of my kids and none of my family members answered that they will spend hours getting on Facebook with stupid pictures of me and my haircut at Christmas time, or coming up with idiotic things that I do as I go through life. But when I ask for one serious thing from my kids and my family, I get no response. But I had 31 replies. I actually had a reply from someone here in the congregation. Thank you very much. And I just asked, what would you do if you knew you had very little time? You ever thought about it? Have you ever thought about it in the lines of what Christ is doing? Here's what my replies were. 32% of the people, I do percentages, said they would spend more time with family and friends. Can't go wrong there. 25% said they would take a family vacation. We've never had a vacation. A couple we really can't count. My kids never counted them. So maybe it would be nice to get together with all my family and go on a family vacation. 8% said they do absolutely nothing different. Haven't figured that out, but that's fine. They can use their time as they see fit. Another 8% said that they would pre-plan and organize so that their family members wouldn't have to. 3% said they'd focus on grandkids. And you gotta have grandkids to understand that one, because that one's a good one. If you don't have grandkids yet, you should have them. They're awesome. 1% said that he was going to buy a vacuum. And I sent him a reply, and I told him how much I appreciated that, and I asked him to share that with all of his friends. Here's the really interesting part that I got out of this from Facebook. One of the replies, and this isn't the ones that we just talked about, one of the replies that I got was from a friend of Denise's and I's that's going through cancer treatments at the same time as her mother is going through cancer treatments. I think she's got a grip on reality, and she said that she would find a way to cherish family memories and honesties. That's just profound enough. I'm going to leave it alone. I had one that just lost her father to Alzheimer's. That gives you a little grip on reality. And she said that she would spend as much time laughing and crying with her children. whose husband is just now getting into struggling with Alzheimer's. And I don't know enough about that disease to speak to it. All I know is that everybody talks about this planning and pre-planning and catching up while things are still fresh. I had an author that replied, and he said he would journalize his entire life, if he could, to pass on to his children. These are all very honorable things. They're very honest things, and I understand each and every one of them. But I had 2 lawyers that responded, and what's a lawyer doing on Facebook, for crying out loud? I should be on there, but anyway, one of the lawyers was a neighbor, and I think he just felt sorry for mine. I had one of my nieces, had her mother, my sister, call and say, is there something wrong with Uncle Dean? Because he wanted to know what everybody... So that's the closest we got to a reply, but one of the lawyers in the neighborhood, I think, felt sorry for me. I'm going to have to do a post telling everybody I'm fine. But anyway, the other lawyer who was rough, cigar smoking, mouthy, I never anticipated this out of him. And if I look at my journey and say, what would Jesus do, knowing what Jesus is going to do, I hope that I could do what this lawyer says he would do. He said, I would absolutely insist on doing something each day that scares me to death, or that I said I would never do. I would forgive everybody, and I would love everybody. And I'd blow my very last cent on living this way with my family. What would Jesus do? He's going to spend today casting out demons. He's going to spend tomorrow curing people. And the third day, he's done, and he's going to get ready to go to Jerusalem. He isn't afraid of Herod. There's a fox. He's not afraid of dying. He's afraid of not fulfilling what he needs to do in a timely fashion. And we're going to spend the next few weeks talking about the things that Jesus is doing that makes him what he is and makes us desire to be like him. It's a sad time in his life. It's an amazing time in ours. So with that journey ahead of us, with Jesus fighting evil and curing sickness, and with me waking up every morning and whining and complaining and worrying about my lot in life and cursing my standard, I think I've got a long ways to go. I think I've got a journey that Christ is on over here, and I'm so far over there that I need to work on my everyday like it was my last day. Forgive everybody, love everybody, and blow every last cent on living this way with my family. That's my journey. That's our lesson. And this next few weeks, we're going to find out just exactly how strong Christ is. Amen.